let's talk about free agency. What is up, Finn fans? We are going to talk about kind of like who I would target if I was the Miami Dolphin, or maybe some of these players the Miami Dolphins might target in free agency. So we're going to look at a bunch of players. I wrote down a bunch of names, and it's in positions of, in my opinion, our needs. But before we jump into that, I got to say something. We're 300 subscribers away from 40,000 subscribers. Like, it's right there. I could smell it. I could see it. I can hear it. It's right there. I already got Backroom Collections. They hit me up. They were like, hey, we want to help you with your giveaway. So I'm going to be giving away two things. You're going to get a Backroom Collections great piece of artwork. Go check them out. Use your promo code DDW. You get yourself 10% off. Fantastic. I think I have their link in the description. Fantastic artwork. But you're going to get that. And then also, I think I'm going to give a jersey away once we break 40,000. So, thank you guys in advance. But I'm going to go live and it's going to be crazy. I might cry. I'm not going to cry. And then before we jump into this video, I have to put a disclaimer. Have to do this because I know for a fact I can hear the click clanking of the keys, and I can tell that in the middle of the video or at some point someone's going to fast forward past this and just watch me talk about these free agencies and be like, dude, where are you getting the money for all these free agents? You really think the Dolphins are going to go out and get all the top free agents in each position? You think this, that? No. First and foremost, I'm not coming on here and I'm not going to tell you, oh, we're going to go out and get so-and-so and sign them to a 4-year, this many million guaranteed, maybe I'll give you a year and like an estimated yearly, but I'm not on here about to give you contract numbers. No. Also, the people that I've listed here, the Dolphins aren't going to get them all. I know the Dolphins are going to get them all. These are just people that I think are interesting and that I think will help the team. If they get one out of my gigantic list, I'll be happy. So big disclaimer before you go to the comment section and just ignore everything I just said. Okay? Big disclaimer. Now everyone will ignore that and we'll jump into it. So right now I think the Miami Dolphins are sitting at about negative $16 million in cap. I will pop up on this side, I will pop up the video where I talked about how the Dolphins can clear up cap space. A lot of it entails restructuring of big contracts, giving contract extensions to guys that rightfully so earn them, like Connor Williams and Christian Wilkins, releasing certain players, trading certain players. I made that video, like I said, it'll be tagged right up here. Go check it out. They can essentially go from negative 16 million to about 50 million, give or take, in cap space, which means they have money to play around and go after some of the guys that I'm going to go off and list. So without further ado, wasting 3 minutes of your time, let's jump into this. And again, it's needs. So to me, backup quarterback, running back, tight end, a tackle. I don't have a guard on here. That position, I feel like they can draft. Linebacker, cornerback, and safety are needs that the Dolphins need to address either in free agency or the draft, preferably both. So we'll start with the quarterback situation. And again, in a perfect world, if I had the option, I would get Derek Carr, and I would have Derek Carr compete with Tua Tagovailoa. Winner gets the starting position. Loser, you're the backup. And regardless, we have a very good backup. But again, I will say this for the 400th time. Now it's recorded because I said in the live stream, maybe people don't want to watch an hour of me rambling. Derek Carr does not want to come to Miami. Not because the Dolphins don't have a very good team. And if you add Derek Carr, that's instant, whatever division winning favorites. But he doesn't want to come here because the Dolphins already backed Tua. They're not going to, go back on their word with Tua. If they did, they did. I'm not saying they won't, but I don't see it happening. He's not going to want to come here to compete. He can go to the Jets, be their starter. He can go to Carolina, be their starter. The Saints, be their starter. All of these, Tennessee, be their starter. Like, he can go anywhere, any team he chooses, get a big fat contract. He ain't getting a fat contract here. 30, 40 million a year, maybe 30 million a year. You ain't getting that here, and instantly be their starter. He's not going to want to come to Miami and be in a competition or a backup. So for anyone who has this pipe dream that the Dolphins should go into the sweepstakes for Derek Carr, and is it really a sweepstakes? Like, no, not knocking Derek Carr or anything, but like, he's not Peyton Manning. That was a sweepstakes. He ain't Tom Brady. That was a sweepstakes. But if for anyone to say, "Oh, throw your name in there," okay, yeah, but he's gonna be like, "No, man, I'm not going there. You guys got your quarterback. I'm not dealing with that. I'm gonna go to Carolina. I'm their quarterback. I'm their franchise. He ain't coming here. So we need a backup. And I have 4 names on here that I find interesting. Some of them we might not get because, again, it's the same situation with Derek Carr where some of these guys want to start. They don't want to come here and either compete or be a backup. But then one on here is Baker Mayfield. He's 27. I wanted Baker Mayfield when he came out of college. I really wanted the Dolphins to draft him. He didn't make it past the first overall pick. I really like him. I think he could fit very well in this system, especially with the receivers that we have. I think it'd be great. But again, he's a situation where he can go to Washington, instant starter. He's not going to go back to Carolina. But you know what I'm saying? He can go to places and be an instant starter. So I don't know if Baker would come here. If Baker does go out there and realize that he's not getting the money he wants, maybe he'll come here. Ryan Tannehill, up there in age, 34, but maybe he wants to come back here. Maybe he still has a house in Miami. He's another guy where it's a situation where he's good enough that if we bring him in and Tua does get injured for 5 games, he can win us those 5 games. Now, Teddy Bridgewater, I after the first game, I was like, he can't win us 5 games. Ryan Tannehill can, right? He's going to take those chances. He's going to make the throws. He's going to do his thing. He's going to, take the offense and move them where they need to be. So Ryan Tannehill, Tyler Heineke. Is he going back to Washington? Tyler Heineke seems more of a viability because, he lost his starting job multiple times with Washington. So Tyler seems like an option. Also, Gardner Minshew. I think he would fit well being a backup here. And again, he's another situation where he could have stayed and been the starter or the backup in Jacksonville, traded to the Eagles, back up there. He's now in that backup situation, and I would bring in Gardner Minshew, who's only 26. So if you notice a lot of these guys, Baker's 27, Tyler is, I think, 29, and Gardner Minshew's 26. These are guys that we can have backups for a good amount of times. And if Tua does go down and they perform and they really do their thing, maybe they take that over, to take over that job. Ryan Tannehill is a guy, if they bring Ryan Tannehill in, which I doubt they would, he's a guy that he's just going to be the backup. There's no future with Ryan Tannehill here. So that's my quarterbacks, right? And again, who they need to go now, not a knock on Skyler, but they need to get a veteran backup. Or heck, again, I'm not against bringing a guy in to compete with Tua Tagovailoa in training camp and the best guy wins. I'm not against that. I think that competition breeds, the best. Every position should be a competition. So I'm not against Derek Carr coming in. I'm not against, some of these top guys coming in and competing. But again, I don't see Derek Carr wanting to compete. I see him wanting to go somewhere to start. So having a Baker, Taylor Heineke, or Gardner Minshew, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think you need that guy that, God forbid, Tua does go down, and he has to prove that this is the year that he has to prove he could stay healthy. If not, they'll probably move on. We don't have such a drop in talent that all of a sudden we lose the 5 games. Tua is not in there. Next, running back. We currently have no running backs on the roster. If you go back and watch my re-sign video, I said I would re-sign both Wilson and Mostert. That'll probably be about $6 million there. Then I'm tendering Ahmed. But there's some guys out there. My number one actually is Kareem Hunt. He's only 27. I think he could do really well coming to Miami, and he kind of has that connection with Tyreek Hill. Maybe Tyreek Hill can chirp in his ear a little bit, but Kareem Hunt to me seems like the most realistic option if you want to bring in that veteran running back and that guy who can kind of do it all. I would really like to see Kareem Hunt So again, if in a perfect world where I had my option, I'm bringing in Baker Mayfield and Kareem Hunt as your backup quarterback and your running back, possibly one. If they bring in Kareem Hunt, I'm probably not bringing back Raheem Mostert. I'll probably just Jeff Wilson, Kareem Hunt, Ahmed, and then I'm drafting a running back. Really like Kareem Hunt, and then like, obviously you got Saquon Barkley and Tony Pollard. Both those guys are 25. That's a lot of money to put in the running back, and if you do that, I'm not against it, but you got to be smart about it. Those guys are very, very good running backs. Not saying Kareem Hunt isn't, but to me, Kareem Hunt seems like the option there. Then tight end, right? Mike Gesicki, and again, I'll say this again. Go watch the press conference. Chris Grier already said that Mike Gesicki came and he has earned the right to test free agency. He's going to go test free agency. He's probably going to get a fat check, and the Dolphins will probably get a third-round compensation for next year's draft, which I'm fine with, which means next year's draft they have a 1, a 2, and 2 3s. Fantastic. Keep building for the future. So I don't see Gesicki coming back unless, he gets a bunch of lowball offers and he's like, hey, what do you guys offer me? And the Dolphins like, we can give you this. And he's like, I'll take it. So I want to add at least one tight end in free agency. I think they're going to want to see, we still have Durham Smythe under contract. We still have Sathan Carter under contract. And Hunter Long, they probably want to see what he can do. Specifically Chris Grier, because he's the one who drafted him. Mike McDaniel didn't draft Hunter Long. Probably want to see what he can do. And then you have Tanner Connor, the transition guy we have tight ends, but I want to add that big guy. And you have Dalton Schultz out there, 26. I don't know how much he's going to command in the open market. And you have Evan Ingram and even Hayden Hurst. I wouldn't be against bringing in Hayden Hurst. I think Dalton Schultz is going to probably cost a lot, probably around the same as Gesicki. So I don't know if they pull that trigger. Again, I feel they want to see what these guys in Tanner Connor and Hunter Long can do. But like bringing in an Evan Ingram or a Hayden Hurst, I think that would really help, especially, Adam Shaheen's gone. He's a free agent, and I wouldn't be surprised if they cut Sathan Carter. He hasn't done much there. Just to backtrack a little bit, when it comes to the backup quarterback, I'm not paying more than $6-7 million. I think we gave Teddy like $8 million. I'm not paying that much. Kareem Hunt, I'll probably give him like $3-4 million a year. You don't pay running backs a lot. I know that Saquon and Tony Pollard are probably going to get probably around $8 million a year. You don't pay running backs that much anymore. And then when it comes to the tight end, Gesicki's probably going to want around $10 million a year. Dalton Schultz probably is going to want around $10 million a year, whereas Evan Ingram and Hayden Hurst, they're probably not going to get that much. And, I'd sign up to a 2-year contract, first year guaranteed. Same thing with Kareem Hunt, same thing with the backup. 2-year contracts, the first year's guaranteed, second year we can move on if we want, kind of like what they did with Durham Smythe. Now we're moving to right tackle. Yes, right tackle. I have Mike McGlinchey on here. Right, he is a right tackle. 28 years old, did very well in this year. He's had a bounce back year this year. To me, that's a top priority. He might cost a little bit more than you want to pay for a right tackle, but especially if Tua is going to be your starter, you need to shore up that right side, especially with the running and stuff like that. I'm bringing in Mike McGlinchey. Also, like I said, I was going to bring back our right tackle last year who came in for Austin Jackson. Really helped out there, so we'd have that, depth there. There's also Khalid McGarry and Juwan Taylor if you can't get Mike McGlinchey, but I am bringing in, you got Khalib, 27-year-old. You got Juwan Taylor, 25. I'm bringing in a right tackle. I'm bringing in a free agent right tackle. We tried to do it a few times, and they kept getting hurt. I'm hearing Fisher. There's a possibility he comes back again, depending on how his back is. We'll see about that being a backup left tackle to Teron Armstead, God forbid there. But I'm definitely bringing in a right tackle and hopefully a top right tackle because Dolphins definitely need it. Then we flip to the defensive side of the ball. Linebacker. The fact that they did not go after Roquan. The fact that they didn't go after Roquan Smith, the fact that they didn't go after Bobby Wagner, the fact that they kept sitting back and saying to themselves, we're fine here, we're fine. I love Landon Roberts as a run-stopping linebacker. Outside of that, he wasn't good. And the fact that they sat back and looked at this linebacker core, Duke Riley and Landon Roberts, and you're just like, oh, this is good. Jerome Baker, yeah, well, these guys are good. We're fine here. What? I'm hoping Vic Fangio comes in and goes, we need to add some to this. So you got Levante David, 33-year-old, up there in age, depending on how big his contract is. You bring him in, Tyndall can learn from him, play beside him, all that stuff. That's an option, maybe a 1 or 2 year option there in Levante David. David Long from Tennessee, he's 26. I don't know if Tennessee is going to let him go, but that's an option. Tremaine Edmonds, obviously he's 24. I don't think the Bills can afford to pay him. They're in the negative like the Miami Dolphins. I know a lot of you guys saw that Bengals game where he got pushed around. One play versus what he did all year. Come on. Tremaine Edmonds will probably be my number one. And also Jermaine Pratt from Cincinnati is 26. They have a lot of people they have to pay, the Cincinnati Bengals, and you're going to see me name 2 Bengals on the defense that I want the Dolphins to potentially poach. Jermaine Pratt is one of them. Very good in coverage, and you could probably get him not too expensive. So if I had my choice, I'd probably Tremaine Edmonds 1, Jermaine Pratt 2. And I'd give him that 3-year, 3-year, two of those years are guaranteed with a 4th-year option on that. Kind of stick them with the defense a little bit longer. Then we talk about corners, right? I'm bringing back Nick Needham if you saw my re-sign video. So you'd have a pretty young and up-and-coming corners. Xavier Howard is excited to be working with Vic Fangio. He said you have Kader Kohu, you have Joe Williams will be back, you have Nick Needham will be back. You have these corners that are young and up-and-coming, but I still want to add a vet. That Byron to the X, and I'm renegotiating X's contract to clear up some cap space, take some of it, make it a signing bonus, whatever. Now there's Jamel Dean, who 26. You have Bradbury. He's up in age though. He's 29. He just that holding penalty. And then you have Cameron Sutton. I don't know if Jamel is going to, he might cost a lot. Same thing. Bradbury might try to go back to the Philadelphia Eagles, but they are really trying to get that safety to come back, Gardner Johnson. So I don't know if they'll be able to pull that off. But essentially, these 3 names I'd love, but I want to bring in another vet, right, to be opposite of Xavier Howard and to help. Xavier Howard starts struggling, you put him in there. You know what I'm saying? You move things around because that's what Vic Fangio does. He moves things around. So, again, the corners, I got my top 3 on there in Bradbury, Sutton, and Jamel Dean. Those are the guys that I want to go for. And then finally, safety. Safety, Doug. Yes, safety. Eric Rose, the free agent, and I'm not bringing him back. You have obviously Javon Holland, Brandon Jones. We've seen the videos of him working out. He's going to be back in full force. But does he fit in the scheme that Vic Fangio runs with that too high safety look where they kind of, like I said, play in the middle of the field and they have to be very versatile to be able to run up and make the stop on the run or drop back into coverage? I'm bringing in another safety. I'd have that rotation back there, right? Because you also have Clayton Fedgelam's also a free agent. He was a good special teamer. I don't know if they bring him back. So obviously Jordan Poyer, he's 31, up there in age. He had a pretty decent year last year. He's already kind of hinted at coming to Miami. I wouldn't be against it, but I get my guy that I would like to bring in is Jesse Bates from Cincinnati. Again, another situation where Cincinnati has a lot of guys they have to pay. They can't pay everybody. And if the Dolphins get Jesse Bates, all of a sudden Jesse Bates, matched up with Javon Holland, that secondary is incredibly dangerous. Now, again, let me pop this up. I'm not saying the Dolphins are going to be able to go out and get Baker Mayfield, Kareem Hunt, Dalton Schultz, Mike McGlinchey, Tremaine Edmonds, Cameron Sutton, and Jesse Bates. There's no way that they're going to be able to go out and get all of those players. But I'm just telling you at these positions of need what I like and who I like. And again, with tight end, Dalton Schultz probably isn't an option when it comes to the cap space, you probably go Hayden Hurst or Evan Ingram there. But that's who I'm targeting if I'm the Miami Dolphins. And if you can land a few of those guys, I think it'd really help, especially on the defensive side. You can get Jesse Bates, you can get like Tremaine Edmonds, and you can get like a corner like Cameron Sutton. I think that really would help the defense out. And then on offense, you go out, maybe get a Juwan Taylor, because Mike McGlinchey might be expensive. You go out, get a Juwan Taylor, right tackle. You bring Fisher back to play backup left tackle. And get Kareem Hunt. I think this team would be real good. Real good. But comment below if I didn't name any of the free agent targets that you would be interested in the Dolphins going out and grabbing. Comment below. And I know some people are going to be like, Derek Carr and Lamar Jackson, blah, blah, blah. I told you what I felt about that. It doesn't seem realistic. But comment below. Let me know what you guys think. And I will see you in the next one. But like usual, stay classy. FN top.